Jumbo Scampi for limited.
All for a price that will make you.
How the hell am I supposed to pay?
You're listening to BAMF, UK Comic Book Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome to BAMF Comic Book Radio, your number one comics podcast for news, reviews and odd points of views. I am, as always, Bertie Kempson. Joining me today is Lucas. Say hello, Lucas.
Hello.
Fee, say hello, Fee.
Hello.
Sarah, say hello.
Hello.
And Neville, say hello.
Good evening, Internet.
Right, and we're here, as always, back on the thing with the news and all the reviews, whatever, so we're going to go straight in to the news. And did you lot know, you probably did, I'm telling you anyway, Bradley Cooper, the raccoon face man, is been cast as Rocket Raccoon, the voice of, which for many is heartbreaking because Rocket Raccoon's English, but never mind. And speaking of casting, gonna go straight into it, I believe his name is James Spader. I've seen one scary 80s film with him in that gave me nightmares years ago.
Is that Videodrome by any chance?
It might have been Videodrome. I barely remember it because I was watching it like, what is this? Why am I watching it? And he's going to be Ultron. So if what I remember of Videodrome is anything to do with Ultron, I won't be seeing Avengers 2. So I look forward to that one. And UK listeners, okay, the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, which is going out on CBS in America, I think, is coming over here for Channel 4, which is a good thing because Channel 4 are really good. And that's my news. I'm hitting it quick and hard.
Yeah, they're going to, Channel 4, I think the other news about, not only have Channel 4 got the rights, but they're going to be showing it just 3 days after it's being shown in the States.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Right.
That's really good, actually.
Yes,
well done.
it's good.
Well,
I mean, the only bad thing is that means they're showing it on a Friday, which is a stupid day to show a big TV show because everybody's out. But
Apart from people like me, who sit indoors on Fridays.
Yeah.
So
Right.
people just like the show.
Yeah, apart from people like us, everybody else is out. But no, I mean, obviously with the advent of Sky Plus and TiVo and other such things, it's not as important, and on demand, it's not as important as it used to be. But yeah, no, it's good that we're getting it in the same week. I'm pretty pleased about that.
It is really good.
Yeah, I had visions of us sort of having to wait weeks or even months. So.
And I think it's Channel 4 that's got the rights to all the films as well, like Iron Man and all that. It's always those that show the Avengers films. So
Yeah.
we'll always be getting those. It's under the same roof rather than... Do you ever get it when you're watching, like, I don't know, Fantastic Four? This was years ago, but Fantastic Four would be on one channel, but then, like, a couple of weeks later, Spider-Man would be on the other. And I always thought to myself, surely if I was a channel boss, I'd want all of them under one roof and just do, like, is everything in once? You give me your money, you know? That's what I would have done. Anyway, it's all good news all round, especially the James Spader.
Yeah, I really like James Spader as an actor. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Really, really like him. Has anybody seen Secretary?
Oh, hell yeah.
That's the other film.
Yeah, it's a
where
great film.
where he's smacking Batman's girlfriend's
Yes.
bum.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, no, it's a really good film. He's a really good actor, and he can do menacing really well, and I think he could do the villain really well. I think the only puzzle over that is he just going to be a voice? In which case, I'm sure he would do a voice really well, but then I sort of partly feel that would be a bit of a waste of his talent.
They might do that annoying thing where they're going to give him a face just because he's an actor, right? So you're going to get Ultron with a face for a while, and he'll have a helmet or something. Because actors like FaceTime.
Yeah, and that would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look at Spider-Man 3, okay? Venom kept peeling back his face like every 5 seconds because, you know, you got to see the actor, not scary Venom. But that's not what we wanted to see.
No, I agree. I mean, it would just be interesting to see how they're going to approach the whole Ultron thing anyway. I mean, you know, I would never have guessed that in a million years, James Spader, so, you know, it's made me excited for it, but yeah, just really interested to see what they do. And as for the other bit of news, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, well, I actually think Bradley Cooper's a pretty good actor, actually, and a little bit more so than I think people give him credit for. But as Bertie said at the top of the show, Rocket Raccoon's supposed to be British, so it's, you know, and having just read all of the DNA space stuff, and very, very clearly in my head had Rocket with a British accent. It was very difficult to read him otherwise, like, you know, in any other way.
Maybe he can do a British accent, this guy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't reckon he will, though.
Yeah, I don't see the point in getting a big American actor to come in, do a voice that's not his voice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's...
It's all wait and see, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's a good comedy actor, so,
Yeah.
you know, he's got good comedic timing and stuff, and I think you need that with Rocket, so...
Just picture his voice bouncing off of Vin Diesel's Groot voice.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird.
I saw David Bautista, who's going to be playing Drax, is posted on Twitter yesterday that he went to a nice restaurant in Richmond, which was a bit random because that's sort of just up the road from where I live. So I was just picturing David Bautista going out for a meal in Richmond.
Imagine looking outside your window and then you see him walking his dog or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be the weirdest freaking sight. I mean, fight? I don't know why I said fight then. That'd be the weirdest sight. What
Look,
fight?
If he takes Chris Pratt with him, then I'm there. I'm going to camp outside the restaurant every day for the next, well, however long.
With a giant, oversized butterfly net.
Yeah, we found out this week that they're building currently on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy in Shepperton Studios, which is just down the road from where I live. They're building a massive space cockpit in the car park, which is apparently visible from the road. So I'm very tempted to get in the car and drive up there and go and have a look to see exactly what you can see.
You should.
Yeah, they're thinking about it. And I suppose they're supposed to be starting filming that in it. That set's supposed to be finished in a week or so, and they're supposed to be starting filming it in a couple of weeks. So it's just
get in there before they break it down.
Yeah, exactly. So it's probably only have sort of 2 or 3 weeks a chance to actually, you know, possibly go and see what they're doing. But by all accounts, from the residents who live nearby, it's taking shape and it's looking pretty good. So I still can't wait to see this film. I'm going to be talking about it until it comes out next year. Anyway.
Remember, 2 days before my birthday, guys. In.
I think we need to take you to go see it at the IMAX, don't we, Lucas?
I think we should.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
We could all get together.
Yeah.
Actually, that means I have a little news item as well. It's not actually really important news. It's just that this weekend, if you've been following on Twitter, you'll find out that we had the latest BAMF meetup, which is the first time we've all met Sarah. So
Yay! I
I'll
hope.
have some BAMF news from Lucas. His
Yeah,
first
it was-
news item.
That was a fun day out, wasn't it, Lucas?
Oh, it was great. I tried to put a cigarette on an intercom, but you know, aside from that, what's next on the agenda?
Next on the agenda is Jonathan Ross has posted his preview image of his new comic, which is going to be called The Revenger, which will be drawn by Ian Churchill of Death's Head 2, Supergirl, Cable, such, and Marine Man of all things. Fame that just got posted in the last half an hour or so, and apparently Mr. Churchill will be talking more about it at this week's NICE comic convention. So there's that. There's also been a few images released from the new DC cartoon, which will be one of those animated straight-to-DVD malarkey things that DC likes doing. This one's going to be called Justice League War, and it's going to adapt the first 6 issues of the New 52. But it's not going to be written by Jeff Johns, so you can have everything in this life, it seems. The costumes do look a bit less, well, Wildstorm circa 1995. And, yeah, it's got Wonder Woman as a prominent figure on their character. So, may not be bad.
And the Wonder Woman costume is lovely.
I know, right?
It's gorgeous.
There was a really good thing on Tumblr a couple of weeks ago where someone just posted, here are all the problems with Wonder Woman's costume, and they all fit start and finish with, you can't have a fucking great gold metal eagle on your tits because it'll all go wrong very quickly. It's like, yeah, fair enough. Point made. My final bit of news.
Okay.
Well, the image made me laugh, and that was alone enough to justify it. Final bit of news is that Bryan Cranston of the amazing TV show Breaking Bad is apparently literally laughing at the rumours that he's going to be playing Lex Luthor or has anything to do with the upcoming 6 DC movies that are planned. It's not happening. He doesn't know anything about it. He hasn't been contacted about it. It's very simply not true.
This makes me sad. Because there was that moment of that would be the world's best casting ever. To have him as Lex Luthor. And if you watch Breaking Bad, you will see that.
6 movies, the actor laughed. This is all news to me. Perhaps my name is bandied about because I'm known to be bald. But then, I am a man who can shave his hair. So,
I wouldn't want him in 6 movies. I'd want him just as Lex Luthor in 1 movie, doing the Heisenberg voice and the stare. Oh, it would be well good. But, you know, whatever.
It's just not happening.
It might be Matt Damon. You know, he's bald in Elysium. If they're going for bald people, you know, it might be him.
Don't say that.
Probably Jimmy Tarbuck.
I heard a lot of people saying that Bryan Cranston would have actually made a better Commissioner Gordon anyway, because
that's also really good.
He did the voice, didn't he? In was it a game or an animated series or something?
Not sure. I'll look that up. I will look it up and then get back to you.
I'm sure I haven't made that up.
Last bit of news, which is actually quite sad. It's a bit more of an anime thing, and I'm sorry if we're somewhat stepping on the anime guy's shoes, but Hayoma's, and I'm probably going to completely mispronounce this, BAMF listeners, so feel free to laugh me out of the building and tweet the correct pronunciation. But Hayao Miyazaki is retiring after his next movie. His next movie will be literally his last, and that's it. Bit of a shame. He's retired about 4 or 5 times, but this is the proper one. It's a bit of a Ramones Mick Foley style retirement, I imagine, but he is 72, so probably
about time.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be about time. William Burroughs didn't stop writing until he was like, dead. But you know what I mean. Anyway.
I'd want to stop working at 72. I'd want to stop working like 30 years before that, actually, but never mind.
What about this Fish Nets Brigade? Sarah, tell us about that.
So earlier on this week on Comics Alliance, I saw an article about the Fishnets Brigade book, which was first heard about this a few years ago, I think it was, and it'll be written by Paul Dini, and it will focus on Zatanna and Black Canary. After it was first announced, it just sort of feels like I didn't really hear a lot about it, but it's now been announced that it will be released May next year, and Joe Quinones will be writing it. It's from the artwork that's been released, which does look absolutely gorgeous. It is pre-52 versions of both of them in their old classic costumes. I don't know much about what the plot's going to be about, but I'm not entirely certain that really matters because it looks like it's just going to be absolutely gorgeous. And well, I'm a sucker for both of them in their old style costumes and fishnets, so I'm very excited to get this. That will be going straight on my pre-order list. Other bit of news I've got is more Super Family story news. Apparently in November we're going to have a story arc, a big crossover called Krypton Returns, which is going to have something to do with hell, because we obviously need another Krypton story, because World of New Krypton only happened 3 years ago, and then the Smallville story arc just did their Krypton Returns story in the Argo arc, which was out a few months ago, but now we need one for New 52 as well. Apparently it's going to be the most ambitious Superman story ever. So yeah, I would have
thought Krypton would have been like. I would have thought Krypton would have been like Superman's Uncle Ben. Do you know, like where you just don't revive it, just leave it. It's something that isn't there anymore.
Well, the World storyline, World of New Krypton, that worked really well. That was really good. It took about 2.5 years to tell, I think, but that actually. It made you care about it. It was well done. It seemed like it had a point to it. This sort of seemed like it's being just brought back for the hell of it, and just to fit in because they need another version of it. At which point, yeah, I'm with you. It's not necessary. Not as bad as Smallville yet, but
fair enough. Yeah, just leave it alone. Krypton's gone. Yeah. Leave it.
Leave them being the last family of Krypton, and leave all the tragedy there. And anyway.
Yeah. Also, stop bringing those of Kryptonians in because it makes it less better.
Yeah, so what was that, Nev? Say that again, I didn't hear you.
I got really excited because I thought she said there's going to be a new Krypto crossover, which is, Krypto the Superdog is clearly the best thing about the Superman family. I'm sorry, as you were, carry on.
Bryan Cranston was Jim Gordon in Batman Year 1, 2011.
Yeah, so I didn't make it up.
I hope we had people shouting at their microphone.
Yeah.
I say microphone, headphones.
Okay, so last bit of news this week. It's a bit of sad news, really. iFanboy, the well-known comics website, is scaling back. Is pretty much sort of shutting down, ceasing day-to-day operations. And 13 years they've been going, so they're calling it a day after 13 years. I think they've put a statement up on their site saying that basically they've got too much sort of going on in their lives with families and day jobs and other opportunities, and that the website have been suffering a bit for it. So they, rather than watch it suffer anymore, they just decided to pull the plug on it. They're still going to be doing their podcast, their Pick of the Week podcast. But the site as we know it is going to be.
I just listened to their latest one, 401, and they did that news. I've been listening to it for so long. They are actually the people that inspired me the most to do a podcast. So you should maybe listen to them, but listen to us first and more often. Just saying. Yeah. Alright, okay guys, let's move on to this week's comics, because we've had lots of news and it's time to hit what we have read. Let's keep it sharp, keep it honest, keep it loose and alive. Who goes first? Flip a coin.
Ching! Oh wow, look at that, I win.
Alright, go on Lucas, you go first.
Alright, I'll be honest, I haven't, read a tremendous amount this week, and anything I have, I've forgotten. So there we go,
Superman?
that's my comics. That was a joke. Okay. Alright, well, there's Batman Superman, which is kind of more like the highlight, but I'll go with what I thought was a bit shit this week, which was Thunderbolts, the Infinity tie-in. If I had the comic to hand, I would go on about it.
Man, I haven't read this yet. Okay.
So I'll keep it relatively. It's not really anything interesting. So the whole thing behind the Thunderbolts is Red Hulk recruits, a bunch of misfits into his team with the promise that if they help him out with something, he'll help each of them out with an individual mission. And so Punisher's like, "Sup guys, I want to go kill some mafia dudes who are really hard to kill." And so they track him down to New York and everything, and then, whoa, spaceships attack, and that's the end of the issue.
That's really unfair. Hang on a minute, that is so unfair.
That's just left out so much detail and plot and characterization of what happens in a really funny comic.
That is so unfair, right? Punisher can't kill someone, so he sets the Hulk on them. Imagine sitting there, you're a mob boss, you're eating your spaghetti, and all of a sudden, the Hulk comes through the door. That's worse than death itself. It's like, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Alright, just kill me.
I was reading Thunderbolts initially. I read up to issue 3, and I didn't like it. I didn't find it engaging. There was kind of nothing that kind of hooked me. So maybe it was a bit unfair of me to jump in at this issue just because it was an Infinity tie-in. But I just felt like I just didn't enjoy it. That's just, they fight a giant dinosaur at the beginning, which is cool.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's not really it's like a giant platypus dinosaur thing. It's it looks pretty it's got this really really simple face that I just kind of thought was cool. But yeah, I just didn't really like it. Go on. And you seem to have had a more positive view on it.
Did you not like Deadpool's hat?
Deadpool's hat? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
Really
wait, yeah, no, I remember the hat with the feather in it.
Yes.
Alright, Deadpool's hat, yeah. Biggest point is if we list through the pros and cons, okay, Deadpool's hat, yes. Dinosaur, yes. Venom's in it, yes. Negative.
The fact they managed to completely ignore the Infinity storyline as a joke, positive. I approved of that highly. So clearly just taking the piss out of the fact that, oh shit, we've got to try and tie this thing into Thunderbolts. Alright, what if all the Avengers are in space because of Infinity, so we go and kill some mafia bosses, lots of hilarity and jokes, and then, oh, we're going to get away with this is going to be perfect. Oh shit, lots of spaceships. That's the plot.
Fair enough. Next up on my list is Batman Superman issue 3, which was
I haven't read it yet. Only joking.
Just to the listeners, that's an in-joke,
I did read this one just before we came on air.
Okay, well I don't care about Bert, so.
Oh.
Batman Superman issue 3, which was I got it this time. I understood kind of what was happening, because the art style was really nice, but at times I'm just never quite sure what's going on, and the guy doesn't like doing backgrounds.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. No.
Every background is kind of like grey or yellow.
Pretty, though.
It's nice, but you know, there's just kind of nothing going on in the background.
Then you had there's a little segment, the flashback to Clark and Bruce's childhood friendship. So those pages are really nice.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
Which is Bruce Wayne being a dick, just saying.
Well, yeah. Well.
You know,
he
oh
often
hey
is.
Clark, how are you? Let's fight. I'm gonna flip you over because I'm Batman and I'm allowed to flip over a Kryptonian. But yeah, no. It was a fun issue. Shit happens. Darkseid shows up briefly. I'm not sure if they know it's Darkseid yet. But so forgive me when I go through this, 'cause it's going to be a little bit difficult, because you've Earth 1 Batman Superman and Earth 2 Batman Superman. Fuck. It's completely gone. Wiped from my mind.
They buckle.
Yeah.
What happens? What happens is it comes straight off when from issue 2, where Wonder Woman has just stabbed Lois Lane in the chest. Lucas, you there?
I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to be professional now, guys. I'm not the one with the time restraints, alright?
I know we've got time restraints. I'm really sorry.
So then they discover that there's a trickster demon, and it's been inside people and jumping inside different people. Shut up! Shut up! So then it comes out of someone, and shut up, and everyone's like, "Oh man, now we know what it is." But they still hate each other. And then the thing calls like everyone. It shows everyone a vision of Darkseid, who is like, "I want to come and fuck everyone else." And then
Fuck him up.
then there's a flashback to Earth 2 and Earth 2 Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent as kids. Now this is kids, guys. Stop laughing. And how they met when they was younger and become really good friends because they're both loners. And there was a bit where one of the Batman threw a rock at Superman.
Right. Not being a DC reader, I have a couple of questions about this. Has this happened before that Clark and Bruce have met as children?
Yes.
I know that.
Yes.
I know that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale did this.
In Birthright, in that, I think it was Birthright, there was a scene that is actually really, really similar in tone, in colours, in layout, in sort of structure to the one that was in Batman Superman. The only thing was that in Birthright, the scene I'm thinking of, no, hang on.
No, it wasn't Birthright. That wasn't in Birthright.
What was it then?
Birthright
There's
was-
4 seasons.
Batman Superman by
No, not
Jeff
4
Loeb and
seasons.
Tim Sale.
I don't think it was that one. I think it might have been Superman 4 seasons.
No, it wasn't 4 seasons either.
Was it?
It might have actually been Jeff Lowe's Batman Superman.
I think it is, says the non-DC reader.
Well done, Pete.
Here's an issue of Superman Batman as well. I think it's not the one that's dedicated to his kid, but somewhere around that time there's like that one-page story which also is reprinted in the Tim Sale issue of Solo. But it has happened, they have knocked about as kids.
Yeah. But in
No,
this particular issue, wasn't it? It was Earth 2 Batman Superman as kids, because that is why they're so much happier and like they're actually genuinely best friends.
Oh, I
You
didn't
had-
get that.
You had that moment where Earth. Sorry, go on, Nez, what was that?
I said Earth 2 is fan fiction, who cares?
Yeah, well, for the moment, it's crossing into the real world. So yeah, that's why that moment where Earth 2 Superman thought Earth 1 Batman was betraying him with the giant amplifier crystal was like so touching, is because they're genuinely friends.
Right.
It's not like they've just bumped into each other like Earth 1 Batman Superman did in issue 1.
Right. Because I am right. I wasn't that confused until this issue, and I'm confused about which Batman's which and which Superman's which. And
Right, Earth 1
what was
Superman
going
is the one in the cool jeans and t-shirt.
yes.
Earth 2 Batman is the one with all the armour.
Yeah.
So that's the way I differ, like tell the difference.
Yeah, but so, in a couple of the panels, I couldn't tell which one was which.
I couldn't tell
Okay.
either.
Yeah, so I was getting.
There
I
are
was
a lot of
getting confused.
headshots in there where you don't
Yeah.
really see the neck down.
I mean,
Yeah.
again, JD's art is just absolutely. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I did read a review actually, saying that they were actually criticising it as being the worst thing about the issue, for the
Really?
for the reasons that we were saying though, about there being no backgrounds, and about there being a lot of headshots and it at times being a little bit confusing, which I do take those, you know, sort of points on board. But for me, it's just so pretty. I just
Yeah.
have to forgive
Yeah.
it.
And every panel where he shows his dark side, I was saying to Lucas on Saturday, his dark side is genuinely menacing. He looks like a rock monster who is like just nasty to look at. And genuinely like quite sickening, where you see the cracks in him and his teeth are like jagged and nasty, his eyes are just dead with like just red, and it's really, really good. Yeah. I say people check it out if you haven't already. And issue 4 is going to be the last one of this arc, and it's going to be Jay Lee's last issue. So definitely check it out. Greg Pak is doing really good.
Okie doke.
We totally
Right, well,
butted
so
in on you there, Lucas.
that's completely fine. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Okay. Right. But I'm pretty sure we got my section out of the way. So I think it's on to whoever's next.
Do you mind if I go next quick? Just a
Go
quick.
for it.
No.
I read FF. I keep talking about FF, but I really enjoyed this one the most, bestest. I hinted at it a couple of weeks ago. It's the Impossible Man issue. And the Impossible Man is like, I remember it being one of my favourite early like Marvel ideas. And this issue, as the FF team of Scott Lang, Darla, Deering, She-Hulk and Medusa are about to teleport time travel to the point where the original Fantastic Four disappear in their current story. They get pulled from this time stream into like Impossible World by the Impossible Man, who is messing everyone up. His dialogue is so brilliant. He's just like such a douchehead, and he's only really done it so so these teachers and these like parents can look after and teach his son, the Possible Boy. The Impossible Man has a son called the Possible Boy, who's a little chubby alien head, reading books in a grey room. And I loved that the building he was in the library, and it's a grey building in a city that's nothing but like green and purple and like all like psychedelic. But this is just one building where this boy always is. And he's like, I love the idea that the dad is like really upset that he's not impossible and like weird. He's very plain. And he like loves the idea of a table, just a normal real life table rather than an impossible table. It was really, really good. And Michael Red's art was so like curbed. I looked at the Impossible Man. It was just so really. Oh, I loved it so much. And there was a really good moment between the Possible Boy and Medusa. And I'm not doing it justice in this review.
Yeah, it was beautiful. There were some of my favourite All-Red moments, I think, in this issue. From the in the first sort of like couple of pages where they get where they launch into the time stream and the Impossible Man sort of like, you know, brings them into his world, and there's two panels of one of Scott Lang and one of Darla who's been trying to put her lipstick on, and
Oh, I love that.
and as they sort of have been transported through the time stream, they're sort of like it's as if they're being hit by G-force. So you
And
get
their face goes all like backwards.
yeah, and it's really
horrible.
it's really good, really clever. It's really well done. You really get the sense of motion, and Darla's lipstick's gone all over her face where she's been trying to put her lipstick on. And just a couple of little moments. I think I pointed this out. I said this on Twitter. A couple of people might have picked it up. But they have these like the hall monitors, like little robots. Do they have a proper name? The robots.
They're just Herbies.
They're just Herbies. So there's like a little Herbie hall monitor going down the corridor, and in his speech bubble is he's going unts, 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 unts. It's a dubstep hall monitor. It's just brilliant. And I did read that, and I was like, do you think anybody else is going to get that? Anybody like? Will the Americans get that? Do you think?
Yeah.
I think so. They love
have
dubstep.
clubbing.
They love a bit of
Dubstep
dubstep.
Pretty
is
big in
everywhere.
America.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Even though it was made in Croydon.
Yeah, and then he gets grabbed by what's his face?
Maximus.
Maximus, right? And then as he grabs the Herbie Hall monitor, he just lets out one more unce as he gets. It's brilliant. Really good.
I love how they talk to each other. I love the interaction when one of the Herbie bots was Maximus was disguised as a Herbie, using like bits to mess with the scanning, and one of them goes up and goes, "Oh, Herbie99, where were you? We was watching, what was it, YouTube or something, about but like robot version of YouTube." And I love that there should be a book just based on the Herbies, The Secret Life of the Herbie Robots, where they sit around, listen to dubstep, being uncing, and Doombots. There's actually Doombot Herbies as well. They should do this. It's well good.
But no,
Anyway, I'll start the motion now.
Yeah, it's a lovely issue. It's really, really good. I'm just very sad. We've spoken about how sad we are already. I think this was this Matt Fraction's last scripted issue, or is that next?
Oh my lord! Don't say that.
Next one's the last one.
Next one's the last one.
Oh god! I thought we had much longer together.
So next one is 12, which will be his last scripted issue. His last scripted issue. Then he's plotted it out until 16, and then the All Reds are off after 16. So
if anyone is getting bored of me talking about FF, I can guarantee I will be stopping very soon. I'm sorry. But never mind, they'll find something else to always talk about, like Thor. Which I'm not going to talk about now, I'm going to pass it over to someone else. Catch!
speaking of Thor.
He got there quick!
Yeah, I read it. I read Thor. As we said at the top of the show, we met up this weekend, and we were having a nosy round Forbidden Planet, and Bertie made me buy Thor.
I didn't make you, I suggested.
You heavily suggested that I should buy Thor.
There might have been gun points involved, but you know.
There may have been hands round throats or something, but I gave in. So most people who listen to the show will know, I'm not a Thor fan. I like him well enough in the film universe. Maybe something to do with Chris Hemsworth, I don't know. But as a character, he's never grabbed me, and I've tried several times, and I've read lots of Thor issues and stuff over time, and I've gone back to the character time and time again, and every time the sort of creative team changes, I always sort of try and give it another go, but the lesson learned over the years is just that he's just not a character for me. So when Jason Aaron took over, as I said, like I always do, I did give it a go, and I read the first 3 or 4 issues of the God Killer arc, and everyone was saying how good it was and how much they enjoyed it, and it just wasn't for me. So I ended up dropping it again. But his strong suggestion, I ended up picking up issue 12, which is out this week, because that arc is now over with, and this was about Thor going back to Earth, and that's if I am going to enjoy the character. I like seeing him with the Avengers and everything, but I guess I do prefer seeing his sort of like earthly interactions more than the Asgard's kind of stuff. Do you know what? I really liked it.
Boom in your face, the universe.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a really, really, really good issue. A little bit confusing because there's lots of sort of like small things that happen. Like he's in one place.
I was confused as well.
Yeah,
because I thought some of them was like hints at stuff that had happened years ago. But I think it was all new ideas. I think it's just stuff he's going to touch upon.
Yeah, so he's still dealing with this idea of 3 different Thors. So past Thor, present Thor, and future Thor. I like there's like a little moment of past Thor somewhere in Iceland in 893 AD, where you see him, visiting Earth, and he explains all of his reasons for why he keeps on visiting Earth again and again. Because we have drink and women and eat animals and things, and then it flashes forward to the present, to New York City, and there's a really fantastic page there where it's just the whole page is just Thor flying with his hammer in front, and it's a whole page panel, and it's really lovely. In fact, the art is really nice. I really enjoyed all of it. I really like Nick Klein's Thor, because he does sort of like have that godlike thing, like
Yeah.
rather than sometimes when you see him when he's drawn, like some artists just draw him as you know, like you see him next to sort of all the other Avengers or other characters and stuff, and he just sort of looks like a well muscled man or whatever. But there's just something about the way that Nick Klein draws him that's just really godlike.
Yeah. What especially helped was that the scenes that he was in were very Earth scenes. There was no
Yes.
other super
And I
being
kind of
with
like
him.
that, and the
was
whole
really well
issue
done.
is everybody acknowledging the fact that he is a god, as well, and which is another thing that you don't always see addressed all of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like he's there, he's Thor, he's an Avenger, yeah.
It's just another
Whereas a
superhero.
lot
It's just
of this
another
is
guy in
actually
a
talking
cape.
about his god status, which I really enjoyed. My favourite part of the issue was when he goes to visit the man. So I don't know if I'm supposed to know who this character is. This man is about to be executed, and he brings him this really exotic fruit from another planet as his last meal. The whole little sort of segment, the whole little story was actually really touching.
I really like that.
What I took that as, on the second flick through, I took that as someone that was praying to Thor, and Thor answered his prayers and was with him till the
That's
end.
a really nice way. I hope that is what it is, because that's a really nice way of looking at it. Because actually, it probably makes sense in the context of the rest of the issue, because he is, as I was saying, like doing that godlike thing and sort of like acting on upon all these sort of like godlike attributes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was just really nice, and it was actually really touching. Where, you know, as the man's led to his death, where he sort of makes a comment of why the hell couldn't I have met a god like you when I was still young and foolish? And then Thor stands by his side, looking like this amazing kind of like godlike figure, as he's led into the execution chamber. And I just sort of like stopped reading after that point and had to think about it for a while. And anything that sort of makes me think, you know, makes me stop and think for a bit, has done its job. But it was a really, really lovely issue, and I think I might get issue 13.
Boom. And it's going to be a Dark Elf story, so it will slightly advertise links to the film in the hints of the Dark Elves. And also, it's always nice to see Dark Elves with hopefully they like the winter thing and all that cool stuff. Or I'll just be happy with this down to earth 4.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of that. I mean, I don't know. If you can find a nice balance between the two, I suppose that's what I'm going to want from a Thor comic.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll pick the next one up and I'll see. But yeah, so I enjoyed a Thor comic. Who'd have thunk it?
I know. I'm the best.
Yeah, well done. You know me so well.
I
And then the other thing I read this week, I just wanted to talk about really quickly, was Avengers Arena 14. And this issue focused on one of the Braddock Academy kids, Cullen Bloodstone, which up till this point we don't know all that much about the some of the new characters that were brought in just for this series, the Braddock Academy kids. And then there's a little flashback into Cullen Bloodstone's life that sort of explains how he came to be at the Braddock Academy and stuff. And I feel really stupid for not realising before that Cullen Bloodstone is obviously related to Elsa Bloodstone, who we would have seen most recently in Fearless Defenders.
Yeah.
But she's popped up several times.
And speaking English rather than didn't Sarah didn't you say she had an American accent in Fearless Defenders?
No, did I say that?
I thought last week you said she was had more of an American sort of vocabulary rather than the English ones she should have.
I might have said that. I can't remember saying that, but that doesn't mean anything. Got a fallible memory.
Maybe I made it up.
But it turns out that Cullen and Elsa are brother and sister.
Yeah.
So should have probably put 2 and 2 together on that before now, like with the surname being a little bit of a giveaway, but never mind. And you find out more about Cullen and what he got abandoned by his father on some adventure. He was trying to teach him, you know, how to be a Bloodstone, and then his father went off and left him there and then died, and then he ended up there in this really horrible, nasty place for 2 years trying to survive, until finally he somehow managed to escape, and Elsa found him and then thought that, you know, the best thing for him would be to take him to the Braddock Academy. And I really enjoyed finding out more about kind of, we've said before that I think it was me and you, Bertie, were saying we would like to find out more about these characters, and Aidan, one of the other British characters in the book, you know, and more about where they came from and everything. So I'm glad that we did get the chance to. And only 4 more issues of Avengers Arena left now. So
yeah, so it's another one of those sad moments of don't want to see something end. But you know, I feel that it's going to end on a nice, like, a note it's meant to end on.
Yeah, I think so. I did read the other day, lots of people saying, oh, it's been cancelled. But Dennis Hopeless, I saw the other day, he said that it'd always been planned to be an 18-issue series.
Yeah.
But that whatever it is that does spin out of it has also been planned all along. Then again, these companies say these things, don't they?
Yeah, but you can't. If it was meant to be planned as a however many long mini-series, you can't say, oh, it's going to be a mini-series of 18 issues, because then people might go, well, that's not a mini-series. That's a
maxi series.
Yes, a maxi series, like Secret Warriors. You know, so yeah.
But it's really good, and something very intriguing happens. We find out even more about
that is actually a really big game changer. What happens at the end, if you think about it, because
it's massive.
Yeah, at the moment, like the current situation, like they've been cornered and stuff are coming in on them, and now this has happened. It's sort of just changed the whole direction of the story, and I hope that it really like mega changes it, because it should.
But yeah, that's really good. So yeah, that's me. So who wants to go next? Sarah?
I'll go next. Yep. Comics I've read this week. I got something I've actually been intending to get for years, and I just never quite managed to find an excuse to buy it. It's called Zeta the Space Girl, and it's by a fella called Ben Hatke, Hattke. I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's an all-ages comic, and it's about this girl who gets transported to another planet by mistake. Her friend gets transported to this other planet first of all, and then she runs away and goes, oh no, what do I do? It's really scary, and then decides to go back into the bit, get herself transported to the planet, find her friend, save her friend, and then try and find a way home. I should have got this quite a long time ago, because it was really, really, really good fun. It's a little, in her sort of journey quest to find her friends and save them and find the way home, it goes a bit sort of Wizard of Ozzy, in that she befriends various other denizens of planet, the aliens on this planet, makes friends with them, and then some of them want to be friends immediately, some don't, but then they all end up being able to help her to get her home. It's light-hearted, it's fun. It's probably not something I'm going to read again, because it is for kids. I mean, it's probably it'd be good for like a 6 or a 7-year-old, and I'm probably going to end up sending it on to one of my friend's kids who isn't quite 6 or 7. She's probably about 3 or 4, but I figure you're never too young to start looking at pretty comics. Good finds. If anybody is looking for stuff for kids, this was the Zeta the Space Girl, and the following volumes would be well worth having a look at. The other thing I read, which is probably the other end of the scale, is the final issue of the Justice League of America as Everything's Trinity War crossover, which it started off, I wasn't going to buy, and then I did buy it because some people on Twitter recommended it, and it actually turned out to be, I really, really enjoyed it. The whole thing, it's been really short, it's only taken place over a couple of months, and the main parts of it have just gone over Justice League America and Justice League Dark, so it's felt quite fast paced. In the story in it, there's loads, there's probably a bit too many sort of hero fights hero, teams fight team, everybody gets their fists in and shouts at each other. But in terms of, for a crossover, it's been really good fun. The characterisation is pretty good, and that's for everybody. There's a few nice little character moments throughout it. I've tweeted a lot of pictures of it earlier on, because there's just some really, really wonderful moments. It's probably the best out of the new 52. This has been the better characterizations I've seen for people like Superman and Wonder Woman, even Green Arrow and Aquaman and Hawkman and all that. Element Woman in it is absolutely wonderful. She's so much fun. Then there's Atom, the tiny Atom. That's the point of the Atom. I can't. What's her? I don't even know what her actual ID is, but she's really. I don't need to know people's actual IDs. It's the Atom. It's great. She was. I really liked her throughout it all, and then I got to the final issue. And if anybody hasn't read the final issue and doesn't want spoilers, you might want to turn off now, because we find out what's been happening and who the Trinity is and what all this Pandora's box and all the evil stuff and where it's all come from. Basically, Atom is really called Atomica, and she's an evil lady from Earth 3, which is the source of all evil. And instead of Pandora's box being formed by the Greek gods on this Earth, like thousands of years ago, it's actually come across from Earth 3. She got transported across 5 years ago after Darkseid attacked the Justice League in their first adventure, came across with Earth 3's evil Alfred. And they've been finding a way to get the rest of the Earth 3 guys across. And the reason why Superman killed Dr. Light in the second issue was that she shrunk herself really tiny and then brought in a sliver of kryptonite with her, dived into Superman's brain and then struck a nerve, causing him to fire out his heat vision and fry Dr. Light. So I didn't see that coming. Is it a shame that she's not a nice, fun character anymore? I don't think I really care. It's just been a really good story, and now I seem to actually be interested in the Crime Syndicate, which is a first for me. So I guess that means they've done the crossover well. I'm really surprised I've enjoyed it, but it has been good fun, and far better than you'd ever have thought. Has anyone else read it? Nevs, I presume you've got views on it.
No, actually, we sold out before I could get my mitts on a copy, so I was not aware of the events. But
Sorry.
No, it's alright. It's only a DC comic. It's not like it matters. I was wondering, have they revealed who the mysterious stranger with the hat is? Because I kept reading that it was Alfred from Earth 3 or something.
Yeah, it's Alfred.
The Outsider.
Is it Alfred?
Yeah, evil Alfred.
The Outsider. Da-na-na-na. All along, it wasn't Batman that was the threat. It was his old butler. It's like a crime thriller. You know, who did it? It was the butler. Oh, I just got the twist.
They did actually make that joke within the comic, but...
Oh, of course. Well, what an idiot I am. It was there right in front of you. Who did it? It was the butler. Of course it was. Jesus. God. Sorry, I just had a moment of why I didn't know. I'm glad they made that joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was. I've heard what happened. That is messed up, really. I would like to see an interaction between evil Alfred and good Alfred.
Well,
good Alfred will win.
Just sort of be like, oh, well, this is weird.
You made a mistake there. His name's not Alfred. It's Michael Caine.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, is the Outsider Michael Caine? That would be weird, really good.
Okay, we'll keep you posted on the Alfred spoilers. Alright, Nevs, you're up.
Hello.
I think.
Internet, I'm up. Here are my comic reviews for the week. First off, the spectacular, wondrous thing that is only, sadly, 5 issues long. That is Itty Bitty Hellboy from Dark Horse Comics. Produced by Art Balbazar and Franco, who did the previously genius Tiny Titans and Superman Family Adventures. It's just a thing of joy and wonder. If you've read Tiny Titans or Superman Family Adventures, you know what you're getting, but we've added, demons and stuff. I loved it so much, and it needs to be an ongoing thing. And these guys, in a better world, would just be given the DC universe and say, do you know what? The New 52, absolute fucking cock-up. What a mistake that was. Maybe we should just put out these comics for kids, and, maybe we'd have some readers beyond 45-year-olds. So yeah, love the shit out of Itty Bitty Hellboy, cannot say enough good things about it. Go get your copy from Dark Horse Digital or from your local friendly comic shop if there are any copies left, because it is wondrous. Next up, a good DC comic, which is the Batman Incorporated special, which wraps up all the stories that were started for Batman Incorporated and such like. It's an anthology book, so some things are better than others. And I have to say, on the whole, pretty good. Generally benefits from having Batcow in it, but then every comic would be better with Batcow in it. Really, really nice to see the Squire being used in a way after Paul Cornell did something and established her. I'd really like to see a Squire ongoing. I really would. It would be a great thing. obviously she's one of those female DC characters who has a lot of potential in her, is intelligent, so she'll probably be shot and killed in the next year or so, because that's DC for you. And finally...
More cynical than me.
Who did the special? Was it Morrison?
No, it wasn't. It's an anthology book, so there's lots of different writers on
Oh,
it.
okay. Oh, wicked.
But there is a love letter to the Batman universe by Grant Morrison at the very end of it, which is
nice.
all like, here are all the things that I thought I was going to do. I thought it was going to take 15 issues, but actually I decided I really liked everything about Batman's history, not just, you know, the pretense that everything happened after 1985 and that was it. But he loves all the 70s stuff with the chest hair and like being the cool dude who goes out with Sable and stuff. So yeah, it's genuinely just like, it's such a step above the other Bat titles, because it's clearly done out of love and respect for history and not just whatever DC editorial felt like doing this week. Oh, Forever Evil, thanks for that, DC. But yeah, any other questions about Batman Inc., or can I move on to the next thing?
Move on.
That's right. Move on.
Alright. Final title is The American Vampire Anthology. Do any of you guys read it?
No. I haven't read any of American Vampire yet. I'm saving that for like a cold, rainy night.
Well, I hadn't read any American Vampire either, but I am a big fan of Vertigo anthologies. Like, some of my favourite books are things like Flinch and Heartbreaker and Strange Adventures and stuff like that. On the whole, it's really good, right? And it's one of those things where I didn't know anything about the characters coming in. It's really well drawn on the whole. Like, the Gail Simone story, which is basically one of those Hollywood Babylon, oh my god, terrible things happen to 1930s actresses. It's drawn beautifully, and it's Gail doing like really good Gail Simone, just nailing everything in a short story. The Ray Falk story looks cracking. On the whole, it's a really quality book. I only have two problems with it. Problem one is when you're doing like an anthology of short vampire stories, when you're doing the whole Owen Henry twist thing, where everything's got to be like set up and resolved within 5 pages. The problem is you can't keep saying the twist is one of the characters as a vampire, because like if you've got a whole ream of stories like that, you're just going to spend your time going, okay, which character shouldn't be the vampire and therefore is, and it got a bit like spot which character is going to turn out to be the vampire. The other main problem, and this is less anything to do with the creative team involved, and more just, you know, comic publishers taking the piss, is $8 for a comic is taking the piss. Like, there's no way around that.
How many pages is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a fairly whack-off anthology, but it's still $8.
Is it like 100 pages or something?
Yes, something like that. I don't have my copy
reasonable,
to hand. Well, it isn't reasonable because, like, that's basically, yes, it's a different art form, and yes, it should be judged by other, like, shouldn't be judged by other things, but $8 is about, what, 5 quid, 6 quid or something? And there's so much, like, 6 quid is basically your Netflix subscription for a month. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way around this. Like, these
There's other
comics
media
can't just
stuff.
say, we're a specialist medium, therefore you have to hand out specialist money for it. It's like, no, yeah, you're doing different things, but we're still using the same currency to pay for it, and that's a box of fags and a pint, frankly. Or, you know, Netflix.
You're
Or, well, I'm a Londoner, so yeah, not actually that lucky, probably wouldn't like. But nonetheless, it's one of those things where because there's such a reduced following for a Vertigo book and a Vertigo anthology, the people who would actually be interested are basically not punished, but charged more for their loyalty to the product, which seemed a bit unfair. I think one of those things that don't have the high interest are things that ought to be cheaper, and the things that people would buy for high prices, like your Batmans or your Supermans or your JLAs, are the things that you just say, well, you know what, you're going to buy it anyway. It's going to be $8 for those, and the things that need the push by being cheaper but being full of interesting people, like your Becky Cloonans or your Gail Simones or your Tule Lottes or stuff, that's the stuff you should be like really pushing and saying, look, we know it's a reduced interest thing, but if we do it cheap, you might be interested in it. But I suspect, because I know not many retailers in London stocked it, I had a bit of a problem trying to find a physical copy. I suspect the price was a massive, you know, well, who's going to buy it for $8? Same thing that happened with the Strange Adventures things, you know, same thing that happened with Vertigo and Space Anthology. Would have gone for it, but $8 is taking the piss. Anyway.
That's a reasonable thing there, though. I sort of get what you're saying there. Especially
Yeah,
when you put it in the terms of like that is your Netflix thing for a month or that's something else. You know, when you put it in other like media, you could put that into something else that'll entertain you for a lot longer.
You can get a trade for that.
You could get a trade for that, and you're getting a lot more. It might be like the same creators, but at least it's like a whole story, like collective. You know, I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, you know, sake to ponder. How would you price an anthology? Get back to us, world. Or don't. It's up to you. Fine, I'll make it up myself. You don't. You give it away. Anything else for you, Nebs?
Well, yeah, kind of. I'm a bit tenuous because I'm still not entirely sure what I think about this. But I was like reading the news about things like Zenith and Miracle Man lately, and I've been quite interested in lost comic projects. And after a bit of rooting around in various comic shops, I've managed to put together almost a complete collection of Big Dave. You guys know Big Dave?
Oh no, Big Dave. He works at the market.
Hey, gotta love the classics. Big Dave is a running story that was put together by Grant Morrison and Mark Miller in the mid-90s as part of 2000 AD's revamp. And it was run by Steve Parkhouse, who's done things like the Bud Jeffrey sagas, and he's written some Doctor Who stuff. And it's like an all-star, all three of them are at the top of their game. You know, this is like the Mark Miller who would write The Authority or Swamp Thing. This isn't the guy who spunked out Nemesis or Superior or any of that stuff. It's essentially, right, I mean, the plot is Big Dave is the hardest man in Manchester, and all manner of like ridiculous things happen. Like he has to go beat up Saddam Hussein, and then the royal family get infiltrated by robots. It's a bit odd because it's like it's taking the son's point of view, like, hey, those horrible single mums with their children leeching off the state, aren't they scummy? But like, while the angle is the son's really horrible, let's just turn on everyone point of view, it's all of the Daily Mail's usual, like, people to turn into scapegoats. And it's kind of like, I don't know if it would be reprinted though, because one of the first things that happens is Saddam makes friends with some aliens who are trying to conquer the world. And they're, like, all of the English army are blasted with a homosexual ray. So none of them can get together to fight, like, Saddam and his army because they're too worrying about curtains and hugging each other and how good ballet is and stuff.
Oh, that's rubbish.
Well, yeah, there are panels that are just like that wrong.
Straight men do that as well.
You what?
So I'm going to say straight men also worry about curtains.
Well, obviously, yeah. I actually haven't
Yeah.
worried about that in my life, but, you know, I've clearly some kind of closet transvestite. But nonetheless, it is really well done, but it's one of those things where you're never quite sure, is this right or wrong? And obviously, as the way I'm describing it, the natural instinct to go is, well, obviously that's completely wrong. But that's the kind of point of view, it's like, well, have you read it? I'll confess, it made me laugh, but in an incredibly guilty way. It's the kind of thing that Mark Miller would go on to explore in things like The Unfunnies. But, you know, The Unfunnies is out of print, and according to his website, it never happened, which is quite interesting. So yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend Big Dave, but it's certainly an interesting thing. And I think in the name of history, and in the name of keeping a complete line of Steve Parkhouse's work in print, because the dude's a genius, I think it's one of the things that ought to be in print. That's all my funny books for this week, Banthers. Blimey, that was reviews, wasn't it?
That was a long old review. That's longer reviews than we normally do. What we're going to do is we're going to hit up Mystery Comics. Mystery Comics.
Right, Mystery Comics time. Woo! Mystery Comics music. Da, 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 da. Alright, that's Mystery Comics music. Nevs, it's your Mystery Comics this week. You've chosen them. So why don't you tell us a little bit about them, why you chose them?
Well, first up for your delectation, fellow Banthers, is the rather intriguing choice of Spawn number 10. The reason that it intrigues me is during the mid-90s, basically comics had gone a bit mental, and instead of doing storylines, everyone was doing pin-ups and gimmick covers and holograms and scratch and sniff stuff and anniversary stuff. And Todd McFarlane, to his credit, said, do you know what would be a really interesting gimmick to try out with a comic? Writers. Really good writers. So, I know, but it was like, of the time, nobody actually went, oh, that'd be an intriguing idea. And he did that with Spawn Batman as well. But what he did with Spawn's issues 8 to 11 was he, like, sent the writers the first 7 issues and said, basically, do what you like. So, we've got Alan Moore in issue 8, who describes the various levels of hell. Issue 9 was Neil Gaiman telling us the story of Angela and the history of the Spawns. Issue 11 was Frank Miller and Spawn beat up two gangs. I don't really know.
Go Frank.
Big Frank. You can kind of trace the decline to that issue of Spawn, to be honest. It's like when it started going a bit mental, and you just thought, is this a gag? Oh no, this is your writing career now. Okay. Issue 10 was Tom McFarlane and Dave Sim talking to each other about the comics industry via their characters of Spawn and Cerebus. And it dealt a lot with creators' rights and the history of comic creation and character creation and various lawsuits. I didn't know how aware you guys were of all of that stuff, so I thought Spawn 10 would be quite a nice primer. So tell me what you thought.
I'll go first.
Oh, Sarah, you go first.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Thanks. Interesting what you said. As I was reading it, I was thinking there's something going on here. There's some context. Now, it's either real world context or it's the comic series context. And I thought, I'm missing something. So I was reading it going, I don't get it. They're referencing something, I don't know what it was. Now you've said that, I would like to say I can remember and it all makes sense, but I can't because my brain's not working. But I think I would probably like to go back and read it again now and go, that's the point they're trying to make. It was interesting, but I didn't really understand it. But I think I thought it was probably a good issue and it was a good comic, it would have been if I'd known what it was on about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I think I just need to echo exactly the same, really. I knew something was going on, but I didn't exactly know what was going on. I didn't know why Spawn was not Spawn.
Because he was Tom McFarlane.
Right. See,
Ah,
didn't get that.
yeah, didn't get that.
Didn't know who Cerebus was, and also thought he was a pig. I didn't realise that he was an aardvark until afterwards. And then I was like, okay, if he's an aardvark, why does he look like a pig? And then that sort of took a lot of my concentration away from the issue.
That was a genuine question Fee gave me.
It was. I was like, who's the pig? And I was like, hang on, it's not a pig, it's an aardvark. Why does he look like a pig?
Never heard of Cerebus the Aardvark up until this point.
No, never.
Okay, no, that's fair enough.
I will say I did.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just interrupt again. Yeah, I did know who Cerebus was because my boyfriend's got a load of the Cerebus books on the shelf. I think he's got all of them. So I had heard about him, and so I was like, oh right, I recognise him. Still didn't understand what was going on, but I did like the change in art style. That was good, and I figured that was showing the different points of view of something which I didn't understand. But yeah, the art was. Yeah, the change in art style to the cerebral stuff was good. I didn't like the art of the Spawn bit. I didn't like all the women's eyes. It just seemed a bit too glossy and pretty, but not really pretty. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. Bert, you go.
I saw it as like, I genuinely read it as Tom McFarlane saying like mainstream is shit. I don't know what, I think it was the superheroes in a cage and Cerebus saying over and over again, your creators ain't sold you, like you know, you still got all this, they haven't left you, and I don't know, I just read it like, oh well, alright Todd, cheers for Spider-Man by the way. And there was and the art was a bit iffy when the kid came in, that Cyan, did you see the one where she's in the crib?
Yeah.
That was really scary, that was really massive head, I said the same thing, I was like, this is a massive head. Is this what happens when Spawn has a kid? And like the Violator dressed in a money dress made me think that it was them just going like the mainstream just there for money. Again, Spawn is worth a lot of money. So is Tom McFarlane. But yeah, clearly I got it wrong. But that's what I read it. That's how I read it. I was like, oh okay, they're in a cage. Mainstream's not good. But you know, I got it wrong. Now you've opened my eyes, Nevs.
Oh, well, okay. Well, to be honest, it was kind of that whole industry gossip was what I grew up on, so I was really fascinated by all that. And Dave Sims, really outspoken for basically saying there is no point working for the mainstream because you can do it and you'll get famous, but anything you create for them will inherently just become assimilated. And his famous line is always, they will never ever pay you enough to sue them. So what happens is all the big creations like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, the Fantastic Four are kept in a cage. And you can go and play with them, but all the power you can generate, which is McFarlane's popularity, because he was huge on Spider-Man, as you rightly say, and it was the whole, we're not they're not getting paid for posters or T-shirts or video game designs based on their work. That was the thing that led to them going, do you know what, we're just going to go and form Image. And McFarlane's never said anything about wanting to be a particularly revolutionary underground guy. He's always wanted to make a shed load of money. He just wanted to do it without somebody else taking a cut out of it and without what he felt was being buggered around, which is, as I said, what leads to why Image exists today. And, you know, I think basically if you're a student of comics history, you have to recognise that degree of anger that those creators had towards Marvel and DC that led to Image being in existence and basically changed the whole industry as we know it. But this isn't my review, so I will shut up.
It's funny though, sorry, real quick, it's funny if you look at Image back then, it was the artist was in charge, and Image now is the writer. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's flipped in a really weird way. But also in the same way it's flipped is that the artists that went to Image all left like Marvel, but now a majority of them write for Marvel, so they're getting the joy of adding to this long line of like Marvel, but also having the joy of doing their own thing, where they get the money and the recognition for. It's weird, isn't it?
It is weird, but you'll notice, out of all of the people who went from Image to DC or Marvel, the one who didn't was the one who published that comic, which is Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
He's never done anything for Marvel since. In fact, there was when Joe Quesada took over Marvel, McFarlane had said something a few years previously about wanting to do a Spawn Spider-Man crossover, and Quesada was like, yeah, totally, I'll completely greenlight that. You do that whenever you want. And he was trying to rile up everyone via Wizard and the fan press saying, like, come on, McFarlane, you know, get on with this. And McFarlane's genius response was, the reason I started Image was so I'd never have to give a fuck what a Marvel editor had to say to me again.
That would be weird if he went back to Spider-Man. Could you imagine how many people would, like, clamour for that? Well,
yeah, him just doing regular art on a regular basis, so, you know, that would be a huge draw.
Yeah. Bunch. Right, let's do the next book, Snebs. What's the next book?
Right, well, moving from Image Creations to a subdivision of Image, Image tried out the Cliffhanger line as part of their Wildstorm division, which was Danger Girl, Battle Chasers, and Crimson. And it didn't turn out too well because because all the books except for Crimson were chronically late all the time. So they tried the whole thing again, but using established properties, things like Astro City was set up for homage via Kurt Busiek, and Strangers to Paradise was picked up from an independent publisher and was a regular homage book for a bit. And the book that we come to with you guys is James Robinson and Paul Smith's really amazing Leave It to Chance, which is one of my favourite comics. So, what did you guys think?
I'll start this way if you guys don't mind.
Go for it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was only one issue, so for me it didn't grab me a lot. I like the premise of the what are they, shamans? I'd say they're all shamans. The shamans and the legacy of this I forgot their name. What, Wally? Chance's family, the Falconers. That's it. Jeez. And it was like quite nice, and the whole magic and the I like that little bit. My favourite bit of the comic was when she was in her garden and she was with the fairies, and the fairy said, you know, you're getting older now, you forget us soon. It was kind of sort of like a thing where it went, you know, your imagination will go. You'll be older and a bit more cynical and a bit more adult, and you won't believe in fairies anymore. And then she just replies, nah, I'll always remember you. And it was that was a nice moment. It was nice. Yeah, it was. I would say it was a really nice book. It was nothing spectacular, but I'd say, if you're after something light and nice and full of magic, I'd say pick it up.
I quite liked it.
That's good. I had you in mind when I did, to be honest.
No, sorry, I didn't know. I thought I'd dropped out and you can hear me. So, yeah, no, I did. I did enjoy it. I thought, like what Bert was saying, it was like nice and the fair bits and the fairies and all that. It was really sweet. I would like to read more. It did feel a bit dated to me. The only bit that made it feel dated. Well, actually, there was a few things that dated it. The lettering and the art style, I really, really like. It's from that sort of like 96 or so, I think it's about. I'm a big fan of that. I think that's probably where some of my favourite comic series have come from, so it was great. But the bit where she wanted to become the Falconer, is it? And that's the bit I think which really dates it. And I think but then I think back to that time, and that's when things like Buffy and that was coming out, and before you had all that, you didn't really have many girl heroes at all, and it was just that particular era where there was a lot of, oh, girls can't do this, and they made it really explicit. But now I just think, I read it and I go, I just want another reason. It could just be that a dad said, you're not suitable for this, rather than making it a gender thing. But other than that, the rest of the issue I really, really enjoyed.
Good. Glad you liked it.
Bea?
Yeah, a bit like you. I thought it did feel a bit dated to me. I didn't love it. I've got no desire to go and read any more of it. But I did think that it was a really nice kind of like all ages book. You know, like a nice all ages story with a nice sort of female lead character. Not my particular cup of tea, but definitely something that I think I would recommend to people who were looking for something, you know, a nice all ages book with a good female lead, if that makes sense. I mean, it was a really nice story. It's just not, you know, just not particularly for me.
All right. Anybody else?
If that's everything on Leave It to Chance, which was a homage book by James Robinson and Paul Smith, I believe still in print from DC Comics. We will move on to the final title, which is one of my favourite comic creators, but I thought it might be a bit of a hard sell to you guys. Even Dawkins, who has written things like Supergirl Adventures and lots of mainstream stuff, including the great DC one-shot World's Finest. But Dork was, like Milk and Cheese, basically even Dork, having a shit list and illustrating it. And I picked Dork number 6 because there's a short story about the Midwest North Arts Collective, which is a massive dig at the self-publishing world, but also the Eltington Science Fiction Club, which is about a collective of fans who are really into superhero comics. I think Dawkins is a genius, so I think his Twitter is one of the great comics Twitters of our time. Everything he has to say is pretty much on the money. The dude's like the complete cynic of the industry and will just happily say, this is why these concepts are bullshit, and this is why this is your ego running rampant, etc., etc. Him and Carl Baker pretty much owned independent comics in the early 90s, and rightfully so. So, Fee, you haven't started, so I will throw, what did you think of Dork number 6 at you?
It gave me a headache. I think it's probably just like a comment on everything that I just don't give a fuck about. So, I'm sure there's some really important points in there and everything, but it was so black and white and dense and heavy, and when I was reading it I had a headache, that it was just quite difficult to take in, and it's not something that I would ever pick up out of choice, and I just don't really have anything else to say about it, to be honest.
I sort of echo that. I get everything what it's saying. I get the people it's making a dig at. I get the people it's got an issue with and mocking and all that. I just don't really care about it. I don't like that sort of satirical thing. And as Fee said, it was so dense. The way it was drawn, there's just so much on the page.
Alrighty. 2 out of 2 says it's not very good. 30.
The characters annoyed the shit out of me, man. I was reading it, I'm really hoping they would just be quiet. It was like, I wouldn't say it was terrible. If you want to read a book that pokes fun of the stereotypical living in the basement nerds, then who would spend like ridiculous amounts of money on like stuff that shouldn't be bought, and then, you know, it's for you. But at the same time, again, like, I don't want to make fun of those people because I sort of half feel sorry for them, so I'd rather just leave them be to sit in their basement rather than poke fun of them. So yeah, it's not personally for me, but I can see the people out there that would want to read that. And part of me, I was sitting there like, oh man, I am like one step away from being these people. I am like, seriously, I've already got a group of people I talk comics with. Me and Lucas have ridiculous conversations. God, me and Lucas are nearly these people. I think that's why it annoyed me.
Well, did say at an award ceremony, because somebody had asked him while he was taking an award for like best cartoonist of the year or something, and someone said like, who are these characters based on? And he said, you don't get it. We are all these characters. We are like, yeah. Like, the dude's not like sitting on his ivory tower going, ha ha, look at the stupid people. You know what I mean? He knows all this stuff. He's as much a fan as everyone else. He's just, well, I'm not saying whether you should like it or not, but I'm suggesting he's not like, here's why these people are stupid. He's just like, here are issues that we have. We being the key word in the phrase.
As long as as long as it's not like you are all stupid and I am not sort of thing, which is sort of halfway came across that. If he turned around and went, yeah, like openly admitted, went, this is sort of me when I was younger, then I'd be like, oh, alright then. But like, it just never came clear to me that it did seem a bit more like, these are the idiots and I am not an idiot because I don't do this. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair enough. Right, well, my mystery comics did not go down exemplarily well, but I still love the shit out of them. Even Dawkins, I still love you, mate. Should we go on to our reader question of the week?
Yeah, we've got a question in from, I believe it was Juan, at JuanSam26 on Twitter. He's a regular Twitterer to us. He's a big fan of us, and we're a big fan of him. He gave us a question that we've answered a little while ago in our early days, but we haven't since Fee and Sarah have joined. And I know Lucas has probably changed his answer a million times since then. Right, guys, so the question is, who is your favourite villain?
Done.
It's a simple question.
Done.
Whoa, he went all weird and like stereo then. Okay, so I'm just going to simply just say, like, Sarah, do you want to go first?
Yeah,
Sarah and Fee, I want both your answers first because this is like a newer question to you.
I have been thinking about this, and I thought villains. I don't really like villains, and then I realised it came to me earlier this evening. Knockout from DC Universe, obviously. I freaking love Knockout. She's amazing. She's she was born in Apocalypse. She's probably a female Fury at some point. She's like 7 foot. She's got this green leotard on. She's got this massive red hair and this face mask, and she is all sorts of amazing. If I was taller, like obviously you guys have now met me, I'm quite short, and if I was taller and probably looked more Amazon-like, I would dress up as her to a convention. She is just fucking amazing.
You could say she's a knockout.
I really wasn't going to go there, but yeah, well done.
Wow, but I'm clapping.
Thank you. I can't hear you clapping.
If we get Eiffel Tower right now, we would.
Oh man, we need to Eiffel Tower or Danger Zone.
What on earth does that mean?
You'll find out.
I am a bit worried.
Right, yeah, that's, I can't picture her in my head, but I have heard of her. I'm trying to picture her. I'm going to Google her.
Go read her. She's in, oh god, my mind's gone completely blank, I can't remember what, well, she was in Superboy when he had that really...
This is like Carl Kiesel and Tom Grummett.
Yeah, and she got with, Scandal in Secret Six, and...
what, Scandal?
God, I just got it! I will send you books that she's in. She's amazing. She's just amazing.
She's the lady in the green
leotard.
Yeah, with the gloves and the mask.
And the big red hair and all sorts of amazing. She gets naked a lot.
What?
Okie doke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll jump in with mine then, if nobody minds.
Well, I wanted Fees next. I did say Lucas.
Fine, Fee. Go, Fee.
Right. I think I like.
Is it Dr. Octopus?
No. It's no
It's not
Spidey.
fun,
It's
is
no
it?
Spidey villain actually. Because I went through all the Spidey villains, and I was like, nah, none of them are my favourite. Because I think I like villains that are more sort of like are more grey, that sort of like cross over into sort of like the anti-hero, not quite outright villain territory. So I have settled on Taskmaster.
Nice.
I love Taskmaster. Right, he's like a mercenary character in the Marvel universe. He wears a skull mask and a hood and a cape and stuff, and he quite often hooks up with Deadpool and various other characters. But he's he's a villain, but he's not sort of like an outright villain. Like every now and again, he sort of cross over onto the good side. Usually, whatever he's doing is for his own, like for his own gain or whatever. But that makes him a much more interesting character to me because he's sort of like not always necessarily sort of like outright bad. He did some like around Civil War time. He was working with Thunderbolts and stuff. Like, because his power is that he can basically mimic anybody else's power, so he can like watch what somebody does and then he can instantly do it.
Photographic reflexes.
Yeah, and then he can but he has this thing where he trains like other heroes or villains or whatever, like, in how to do stuff. And and around the Civil War time, like he was enrolled. He was hired by the government side into leading the Thunderbolts, who were going to go and take down the underground Avengers, who were like Captain America's Avengers at the time. And there was sort of like a lot of interaction with him and those characters. But yeah, I really like it. Whenever he appears in a comic, I'm always pleased to see him. So
his first appearance in Avengers will always be one of the first Avengers stories I remember reading. It was I read it like as a reprinty backup thing, and it was the one where some old guy knocks on Avengers' door and he's dying. And if I remember this correctly, he's not an old guy; it's like a young guy, and he thinks he's been kidnapped. But it turns out he's a clone of an old guy who's using him for organ parts. And I think the old guy is linked to Taskmaster's like henchman training academy, and it was like it was a really cool story. I remember that, and I remember the first time he appears, it's the last page of the comic, the first part of the comic, and he's just standing there with his sword and his shield, looking all badass. And he's like, "I'm the Taskmaster." Always remember that; it'll always be in my head. Yeah, so I just had to say that
he's a good character, and he's got good visuals and stuff as well. Like, and he can be drawn like quite cartoony, but he can be drawn like quite
serious,
like dark, and as you
deadly,
said, like kind of badass as well. So
I also love that he's had his own miniseries, but even in his own books, no one knows who this person is. They've never given him an identity. He's always remained the Taskmaster. Never seen his face. Never heard his real name.
He does have a name. I think his name
is it an actual name?
It's supposed to be Tony Masters. Is his name? I think.
I thought that was like a fake alias that like everyone just goes with.
But that's the one that he usually gets referred to the most, don't they? But yeah, nobody really knows who he is. He's proper shady,
It was said that in Avengers Academy, the character of Finesse, or Finesse, whatever, Finesse is his daughter.
Really?
Yeah, it was very like there was an encounter, and it was like, yeah, you probably are my daughter, and because they got the same powers, and it's believed more than it isn't believed that he's got a kid.
Did that happen in Avengers Academy?
Yeah.
I have completely wiped that moment
from
my mind.
God!
I'm going to go back and have a look. I've got them all upstairs. I'm going to go and have a look and find that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I like that one.
Thank you,
Lucas. Oh my God, Lucas. Lucas?
I've been thinking.
Oh, thank God. Thought I lost you.
Right. I have been thinking. This is such a difficult question for me.
It never used to be.
It never used to be. I used to be that guy, be like, "Oh, I love the Joker. He's so amazing."
You was Harley Quinn.
Oh, I love this guy. But no. It's a really difficult question for me. I've got so many favourite villains.
In the time that I have known Lucas, he has gone through literally every villain is his favourite villain. Joker, Ra's al Ghul, Bane, Two-Face, Sinestro, Thanos, Ultron. I think at one point Taskmaster, Crazy Quilt, Deadshot,
Polka Dot Man.
Everyone you can think of was his favourite. And I want to know, right now, as it stands, who is your favourite, Lucas?
Oh God. I'm not sure if I can answer. It's like being told to defuse a bomb.
Thanos?
Do you know what? I'm going to have to answer this question another time.
Oh, fuck you, Lucas.
I'm going to have to. I have not got an answer. I just can't. I can't answer.
So do we have to change this question next week into what's Lucas's top 5
It's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be Lucas. What's top five?
No,
villains?
I'll choose one. I'll choose one for next week. It has to be a definitive one.
Right.
Okay.
We're gonna come back to. It's gonna be a two-part question.
Dun dun
Nevs?
dun dun dun. All right, Nev.
I'm going to lead into my favourite villain of the moment, which is an easy way out, Lucas. With my favourite quote from a comic, which is, "Why should me stand around waiting in dirt for death stranger? Me rather spend time looking for Satan." That's a quote from Bizarro.
Oh no.
It's not. It's an. Hang on. Oh no.
So are you
Why
saying
that-
Bizarro is your
hate
favourite of
Bizarro.
Satan?
Yeah, in that particular story, he's trying to help Jesus out in the desert. Bizarro, for those of you who don't know, is Lex Luthor mucking about trying to, contain Superman's powers for himself, but he mucks it right up and creates the Bizarro. The 60s Bizarros comics are some of my favourite outright lunatic comics there ever are. After the first couple of adventures where Bizarro decides he wants to live Clark Kent's life and Superman says, "No mate, you can't do that," he goes off and establishes his own planet where everything that Earthlings would do, they won't do. So, if you're going to work, you can fire your boss. And they all talk backwards. And it's just pure insanity. And usually it's just a bunch of, what if a desk was a foot, or that kind of randomness. But every once in a while, someone will go, "Hang on, what would really happen if Bizarro was let loose?" And it gets really nasty and really dangerous. So it's that weird veneer between being quite psychedelic and a bit lunatic. But then, this creature with the power of Superman, but with no sense of responsibility or social mores or anything like that. Just being completely doolally. And, much like I said when I was about the Joker, the thing with Bizarro comics is anything can happen. And if there's one problem with most major superhero comics these days, it's their complete lack of imagination and taking plot over characterization. And characters like Bizarro completely throw that up the window because you just don't know what he's going to do. And that's why I like Bizarro. Also, the trade paperback I was looking at has a beautiful cover by Jamie Hernandez, which is Bizarro twatting Superman in the head with a car.
For using the word twatting,
Yeah?
good pick.
Thanks.
Alright, I haven't got one. I'm going to just come in and say I haven't got one, so I'm just going to make one up. No, I'm not ready. I'm just going to simply pay. I think I've changed it from the last time. But I think it might be Ultron. Simply put. No surprise. Oh, anyway. He's got that father complex, what is it, the Oedipus complex or whatever? Oedipus. Where he hates his dad, and he sort of fancies his mum, and he's weird, and he wants to kill everyone, and he's just angry. And I love that idea of a villain that's just pissed off. It's like, why are you a villain? Just because I'm pissed off. Why not? Fuck you. Big deal. He's like an angry teenager made of a robot body who's just like, "Look at me, Dad. I'm going to kill you now." You know what I mean? Yeah, simple. I like that. I like Ultron. I like robots. I'm a simple-minded guy.
You are
See how
simple.
easy that is, Lucas?
See how easy it is, Lucas? Right?
See how easy it is?
No two-part question.
Screw you guys.
We're going to have to come back to this next week. One is now going to have to be on the edge of his seat for a whole 7 days. 6, maybe.
You know how Juan gets.
One is going to hunt you down.
He's to hunt you down, Lucas, because he didn't answer the poor man's question.
Oh,
I hope you feel bad. I hope
I hope
you
you feel terrible.
can't sleep because of the thought of one now being
oh,
upset.
whoa. I feel bad, but I'm not going to lose sleep, okay? That's important.
Imagine
Oh.
a puppy crying at you. Imagine a puppy crying in
I
your
turn
head.
around.
Say to Lucas, he doesn't care.
Yeah, oh, puppy crying at me. Your misery sustains
It's
me.
like in the loft, howling. Every time you try to go to sleep.
The worst thing you can do, just say, imagine your Xbox formatting itself randomly. Like that would be the best way to provoke a reaction.
Imagine your Xbox crying at you.
Oh no! I'm so sorry, Juan!
Right, I
Next
think that
week.
is the end
Next
so
week.
far. ... To be continued.
Uh-huh. But, yeah, no, that's right. It does bring us to the end of the show. Sad times, all around. We're all crying and stuff. But, if you want to hear more about us and listen to more crying puppies, then check us out. We're on wearearcade.com. Not to mention, you can check us out on Twitter, at Radio BAMF, or Facebook, BAMF Comic Book Radio. We're on iTunes, Tumblr. We're also on business cards as well, but you can't download those. But we are on them. Okie doke. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.